am Sansa Stark, the Lady of Winterfell. I've always dreamed of being a queen. As my father became the hand of the king, I was going to marry the handsome prince of the realm, which meant my dream would come true. Everything was perfect, until one day my prince and my sister got into a conflict. I saw it clearly. It was the prince who provoked my sister first and hurt her friend. But for the sake of my beloved prince, I lied in front of the king. Everyone blamed my sister, accusing her wolf of biting the prince. The queen even demanded that my sister be punished. To my surprise, the king didn't punish my sister. Her wolf was missing, so it couldn't be punished either. Instead, my wolf, my innocent wolf, became the sacrifice of this farce. Fate was like a boomerang, hitting me in return. However, the pain of losing my pet did not make me learn. A few days later, the prince sought me out personally. He placed a necklace, the same as his mother's, around my neck with his own hands and promised me,
I'll never disrespect you again. I'll never be cruel to you again.
I was overjoyed, as if everything that happened that day was just a nightmare. But I never knew my real nightmare was only just beginning.
What is it? What's happening?
Do as I told you. Run!
I hadn't run far when I ran into the hound. He approached me step by step. I called out the queen's name, trying to scare him off, but he only sneered coldly.
Who do you think sent me?
I was taken to the queen. They told me the king had died, and my father denied the prince's claim to the throne. He was a traitor. That is impossible. I knew my father would never betray the realm. He must have had his reasons. But under the queen's pressure, I was terrified. I was afraid I would never be able to marry my beloved prince. So as the queen ordered, I wrote a letter to my brother, urging him to surrender. At the same time, I promised my prince, "Oh, know me, king," that my father would confess to treason and admit him as the one true king. That way, he would be mercy to my father. On the day of the trial, I was confident, with my signal. My father confessed to treason, which he had never committed. Just when I thought everything would be fine, my beloved king betrayed me.
So long as I am your king, treason shall never go unpunished. Bring me his head.
No matter how much I begged, he insisted on executing my father. Only then did I see clearly what kind of monster the man I loved truly was. He took me to the city walls, forcing me to look at the head mounted above, including my father, my scepter. Unbearable pain crashed over me, but I did not cry. What replaced my tears was hatred. I walked straight toward the king. The hound stopped me.
Save yourself some pain, girl. Give him what he wants.
My nightmare was far from over. After my father died, I finally let go of my stupid dream of being queen and began to learn. I learned to lie. When I saw a knight being bullied by Joffrey, I didn't stop him. Instead, I agreed with him. I told him the knight doesn't deserve the mercy of a quick death, so he kept his life to be a fool. In that way, I saved the knight. When Joffrey tore my dress in front of everyone, I still pretended to be loyal to him. Even though Tyrion saved me, I would never tell him the truth. I am loyal to King Joffrey, my one true love. Only this way could I survive. They called me Little Bird, a little bird that could never escape her cage. But I believed, as long as I was alive, I could escape. Until a riot broke out. Joffrey was busy fleeing, completely unaware I had been caught by a mob. The mob pinned me to the ground. I knew they wanted to do something bad to me. In the critical moment, the hound saved me.
All right now, little bird.
I was surprised under this hateful man was a kind heart, but this incident still left me with severe psychological trauma. I woke up from nightmares, feeling a warm stream beneath me. It was my first period. No. Oh no! I grabbed a knife and frantically tried to cut the bloodstains from my sheets. If the queen sees, I can have Joffrey's children now. I couldn't imagine what awaited me. However, the queen still found out. But fortunately, before that thing happened, war broke out. Joffrey would ride forth to battle. War is brutal. Most men wouldn't come back alive. But I believe Joffrey would survive because the worst one always live. During the war, my chamber was pushed open. It was the Hound. He wanted to take me away from King's Landing, but I was afraid. I was afraid of him, afraid of the unknown future, afraid of completely losing my chance to be a queen. I made a regrettable decision. I chose to stay. The war ended. I said Joffrey survived, but he brought back another woman. Marjorie was beautiful, wealthy, and had helped him win the war. She would replace me as Joffrey's queen. After the decision was announced, everyone looked at me full of pity and ridicule. I lowered my head and quietly left the hall, but I could no longer control my smile. I finally free from Joffrey, however. Littlefinger stopped me. He told me that even if I wouldn't marry Joffrey, he still wouldn't let me go. Then, he offered to send me home. I kept urging Littlefinger, hoping to leave King's Landing as soon as possible. But surprises always arrive before plans. Marjorie promised me that once she became queen, she would have me marry her brother and help me leave King's Landing. Looking at her handsome brother, I fell into the girlish dream once again. When Littlefinger signaled me to leave, I hesitated. At that moment, my desire to marry Laura's overcame the urge to go home. But I forgot. How could the Lannisters ever allow this to happen? They betrothing me to Tyrion, that dwarf. Once again, my dream was shattered. Watching Littlefinger's ship disappear into the distance, I was filled with regret.
Stupid little girl with stupid dreams who never learns.
All I could do was accept it. At least, it wasn't the worst Lannister. Tyrion took my hand, promised me.
I won't ever hurt you.
He won't hurt me, but Joffrey will. At the wedding, he took away Tyrion's stool. Everyone laughed at my husband, who couldn't even drape the cloak over his bride. The wedding I once longed for ended in mockery. This wasn't enough for Joffrey. He insisted on undressing me for the bedding ceremony. I was helpless. At that moment, Tyrion saved me. He took me to his bedroom, but he didn't touch me.
I won't share your bed. Not until you want me to.
How ironic. After all the harm the Lannisters had done to me, he was the only one to show me respect. Our relationship quickly warmed. Maybe a dwarf wasn't so hard to accept after all. Then the news came, not hope, but an ending, the Red Wedding. After my father, my mother and my brother also died in the hands of the Lannisters. My last bit of support collapsed. Tyrion sit in front of me taught me to carry on. I didn't want to listen it. All I wanted was to be alone for a while. As I was trying to clear my mind by the lake, I suddenly felt eyes on me. Who was it? I wanted to run away, but the faster I went, the closer the footsteps came. Suddenly, a hand rested on my shoulder.
It's all right. It's all right.
Only then did I recognize him. The night I saved at Joffrey's name day celebration, he thanked me and gave me an heirloom necklace as a token of gratitude. I was deeply moved and proud, but I never imagined that this gift would drag me into the abyss. Wearing that necklace, I attended Joffrey's wedding feast. Joffrey was as vile as ever. He poured wine over Tyrion's head, then threw the cup to the ground, demanding Tyrion refill his glass. That was utterly outrageous. I picked up the cup and handed it to Tyrion, my silent support for him. Unexpectedly, after Joffrey drank the wine, he suddenly clutched his throat.
Idiots, help your king!
Everything happened too fast. Before I could react, the knight quietly came to my side.
If you want to live, you have to leave.
I followed him down a path all the way to the sea. He had already prepared a small boat. Goodbye, King's Landing. I boarded the boat, sailing toward an unknown future. Not long after, the boat docked. Waiting for me was Littlefinger. He warmly welcomed me. Then he drew his bow and aimed at the knight. I asked him why he did this. He said,
"Money buys a man's silence for a time. A bolt in the heart buys it forever."
He told me I was safe. But am I really safe? Littlefinger brought me to Aunt Lisa. Aunt Lisa was jealous about me and him. She seized my hands, asked me if I was pregnant, if he had done something with my body. I denied it, again and again, but she never trusted me. One day, I was playing snow. My cousin Robin ruined the snow castle I had built. When I confronted him, he lied, kicked the ruins, and threw a tantrum. I couldn't help myself. I slapped him. The moment my hand struck his cheek, I regretted it. Littlefinger happened to see it. He told me he would take care of everything, and then he kissed me. I pushed him away, but it was too late. Aunt Lisa had already seen it. She dragged me to the moon door, screaming that I should fly. Just as she leaned me over the edge, Littlefinger stopped her. He held her, soothed her, whispered in her ear, but he didn't choose her.
I have only loved one woman.
Your sister.
He let her fall. Soon after, a trial was held for Littlefinger. The Lords of the Vale questioned me, urging me to tell the truth. I looked at Littlefinger and spoke the lie I'd already rehearsed in my mind.
She said she didn't want to live anymore. She stood on the edge of that moon door. She stepped through.
They believed me as I opened my eyes and turned to Littlefinger. I saw it clearly in his gaze, not gratitude, but admiration. Littlefinger survived the trial and became the Lord of the Vale. He brought me back to Winterfell. He wanted me to marry to the Boltons, who slew my mother and seized my home. He told me to avenge my family. I believed him, so I returned home. Lord Bolton received me. I set aside my hatred and bowed my head. He introduced me to his son, Ramsay, who was to become my second husband. As Littlefinger suggested, I need to manipulate him and take back Winterfell. I was still weighing my next move when a woman named Miranda approached me. She said she had a surprise for me and led me to a dungeon. There, various hunting dogs were kept. Summoning my courage, I walked to the last cage. Inside was my childhood friend, the one who murdered my 2 brothers, Theon. He was no longer the spirited boy I knew. He was like a dog obedient to Ramsay's every command. He told me.
You shouldn't be here.
A deep unease settled over me. This feeling was further amplified when Miranda told me of Ramsay's brutality, the stories of 3 girls he had cruelly killed. Yet, I didn't back down.
I'm Sansa Stark of Winterfell. This is my home, and you can't frighten me.
And still, I walked down the aisle, said the vows. I became Lady Bolton. I thought I was ready. I was wrong. He tore my clothes apart and forced Theon to stand by the door, watching me. This wasn't a wedding night. It was a nightmare. Ramsay hurt me every night. All I wanted was to run. I remembered an old woman once told me, if I'm ever in trouble, light a candle in the highest tower. Someone will rescue me. I immediately sought Theon's help, asking him to light the candle for me. He nodded slightly. All I could do is to believe him. But what came wasn't rescue. It was the skinned body of the old woman. Theon betrayed me. Again, I confronted him, asking him why. He confessed to me about what Ramsay had done to him, about the truth of my 2 brothers. They are still alive. A flicker of hope reignited in my heart. When Stannis marched on Winterfell, I saw my chance. I ran to the highest tower and lit the candle myself. I waited and waited, but no one came. Below, Ramsay was going to win this war. I must leave. I fled toward the outer walls, only to find Miranda and Theon waiting for me. I wouldn't go back. If I'm going to die, let it happen while there's still some of me left. Miranda raised her bow, but before she could loose the arrow, Theon moved. He pushed her off. Then he grabbed my hand and led me to the edge. We looked down. There's a thick blanket of snow. We looked at each other, and together we jumped. We successfully escaped, but Ramsay's men were hot on my heels. It was too cold. My legs gave out. I couldn't run anymore. When I was resting, his men came. Theon stepped forward and lied to them. He told them he'd left me in the snow to death, but he couldn't fool the hunting dogs. Their noses led straight to me. Just as they were dragging me back, a rider appeared on horseback. She cut them down without hesitation. Brienne of Tarth. She had sworn an oath to my mother to protect me. I'd turned her away once before. This time, I wouldn't make that mistake again. With her help, I finally reached my half-brother, Jon Snow. For a moment, I dared to believe peace was possible. But then came Ramsay's letter. He had our brother Rickon. We had to save him, but our forces were pitifully small. Then, an offer arrived. Reinforcements. From Littlefinger. I hated him. He gave me to a monster who murdered my family. And yet, I also owed him. He freed me from another monster who murdered my family. So I didn't kill him, but I refused his help. I told him.
I have an army.
He only offered a knowing smile and left me with meaningful words.
Your brother's army. Half-brother.
Before the war, we met with Ramsay. When he showed us proof that he had our brother, I knew instantly we would never get Rickon back. I pleaded with Jon not to fall into Ramsay's trap for Rickon. But still, he underestimated Ramsay's cruelty. When Jon saw Rickon, ran to him crying for help, and Ramsay drew his bow, shot an arrow at Rickon's heart right in front of him. He couldn't help himself. He charged, blind with grief, straight into Ramsay's trap. For a moment, it looked like he would lose everything. That's when I arrived with Littlefinger and the Knights of the Vale. Days before, I already knew our men were not enough to defeat Ramsay, but Jon insisted on fighting with the army we had, so I did what I had to. In secret, I wrote to Littlefinger and asked for his help. Because of him, we won. Afterward, I visited Ramsay in his cell. He sat there smirking. Even now, he still thinks I can't kill him. But he was wrong. I remembered how much he loved his dogs, how he fed them scraps and people, so I gave him a taste of his own medicine. I had my revenge, justice in its cruelest form. But victory came with a price. I owed Littlefinger again. When the North crowned Jon king in the North, I watched Littlefinger's reaction. and in that moment, I knew I brought back a greater threat. To gather more forces, Jon decided to negotiate with the Dragon Queen. He left Winterfell to me. Not long after his departure, Bran and Arya returned home. They had changed a lot. Bran possessed sight, he could see everything and everywhere. And Arya, she learned to fight. Even Brienne couldn't defeat her. The way she looked at me also changed. Like she doesn't trust me. Like she thinks I want to steal the North from Jon. Then, she showed me the letter, the one Cersei forced me to write to Robb. She used it as a weapon. As proof of betrayal, I snuck into her room, tried to steal it, but inside her bag were faces. Suddenly, she appeared behind me. She said she could use these faces to become anyone she wanted, including me. Then she picked up a dagger and approached me. I held my breath, bracing for what would come next. But she turned the blade away from me and walked out. All the while, Littlefinger whispered in my ear, implying me to kill Arya. He thinks his plans are foolproof, but he didn't realize I'm not that stupid little girl anymore. So I did exactly what he wanted. I held a trial, but the accused wasn't Arya, it was him. With Bran's help, his crimes were laid bare, about how he betrayed my father, how he turned Aunt Lisa against my mother, how he tried to turn me against Arya. Littlefinger panicked. He knelt. He pleaded. He said he loved me, and yet he betrayed me. Under my command, Arya stepped forward and ended his life. I watched as dragons flew overhead. Jon was back, and with him was so-called Dragon Queen. Many lords condemned Jon for abandoning his crown to bring back a strange queen. Jon defended her, claiming it's to save the North. But I saw love in his eyes, and love is blind. I can't help but ask him, are you bend your knees for the North, or just because you love her? But before I can figure it out, the Night King came. My breath caught. My mind went blank. There's nothing I can do, so I took the Valyrian steel dagger Arya had given me and went down to the crypts. At least here, I could stabilize my people. But soon, this place wasn't safe either. The White Walkers smashed through the stone walls like they were parchment. Panic erupted. People screamed, scrambling for exits that led nowhere. Tyrion and I pressed ourselves behind a tomb. In that moment, I remembered the dagger. We exchanged a knowing smile, and we did everything we could to protect others until the White Walkers fell. The Night King was dead. We had won. We defeated the Night King. But I lost Theon. I placed a direwolf pin on his chest. Though he never bore the Stark name, he proved he was one of us. We had just bid farewell to our fallen kin. Without resting, the Dragon Queen was preparing to attack King's Landing. I urged her against it, but it was futile, and I grew even less convinced that she could be a good queen. Just then, I received good news. Jon's true father is Rhaegar Targaryen, which means he has a stronger claim to the Iron Throne than the Dragon Queen. I quickly shared this news with Tyrion. I knew this would shake him to his core, and it did. When he saw her burn King's Landing, when he watched her turn liberation into ash and screams, he made his choice. Together with Jon, he ended her reign. Now, as the representative of the North, I sit among the lords to choose a new ruler. At Tyrion's suggestion, my brother Bran became the new king. But even for him, I would not let the North be taken again. Under Bran's permission, the North seceded from the Six Kingdoms, and I became what I had always dreamed of, the Queen in the North.